Hey there. I thought I would share kind of my reaction and thoughts from watching a few other videos, and I'm going to start with MSNBC.
We're going to start today with Donald Trump's interview with NBC's Kristen Welker. And look, I'm not here to explain it all or to make sense of it all, because that would be a very tall task, and frankly, I'm not here to sane wash some of the crazy things he says, or pretend his tone means he's a changed man. I don't think that's the thing. But it was his first interview as president-elect, and there were a few pieces that I think are important to hear, to understand where we're going from here. First, on the issue of immigration. Now, during the interview, Trump doubled down on his desire to end birthright citizenship. And he also said this about family separation.
We'll send the whole family very humanely back to the country where they came. That way the family's not separated.
So no more family separations. You're not reviving
Well, it depends on the family. The family may decide to say, I'd rather have dad go, and we'll stay here. And in which case they have that option.
Now, I have no idea what that will look like or what that means, and it raises lots of questions. I do know that does not sound great for families. Trump also talked about tariffs during this interview, one of his favorite words to throw around, as we all know. Here's his take on that issue.
And, of course, an ad. All right, hold on.
Now proposing tariffs
All right, here we
against the
go.
United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers
This was recorded
pay the
22
price
hours ago.
of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can
it.
you guarantee American families won't pay more?
Or shared.
I
22.
can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation.
Now, the last part of that is not exactly a factual statement, but what should be most interesting to anyone watching that full clip is that Trump remains insistent on putting in place tariffs, despite not being able to guarantee it won't raise prices on the American people, which, by the way, is what the majority of economists say. Now, throughout his conversation with Kristen Welker, Trump also expressed what some might call confidence, others might call delusion, about the issues with some of his cabinet choices. I mean, he seemed to gloss over Tulsi Gabbard's secret meetings with now former Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. He suggested that everyone is rah-rah about an FBI director, Kash Patel, which even people who like him, I'm not sure they agree everybody's rah-rah. And this is what he had to say about his pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
The fact that he said to some senators reportedly he'll stop drinking if he gets this job, does that worry you?
No, I think that everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I could stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something. And if he said that, I mean, it's a nice thing to say.
How concerned are you that the person who you picked for this top job at the Defense Department, at least according to those who've worked with him, has struggled with drinking?
But I've spoken to people that know him very well, and they say he does not have a drinking problem.
I mean, there are a lot of people in this country who have problems with alcohol abuse, many who are effectively in recovery. The Secretary of Defense does need to be on call at all hours, ready to make life and death decisions. All important. But I'm much more concerned about things like, say, the allegations of sexual assault against him, or his opposition to women in combat, or his complete lack of experience to do the job. Now, on top of all of these moments, Trump also said a lot of other things in this interview. Things that maybe we've all heard many times before, but should still be alarming. We can't be numb to it. Like saying that Liz Cheney and the rest of the January 6th Select Committee should go to jail. I mean, no matter how many times we hear something like that, it is still chilling. It should be. But right now, just a few weeks away from the start of his second Trump term, I really want to focus on a particular piece of this interview that could impact many of you watching at home. And that is what Trump said about the Affordable Care Act.
Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people, it's lousy health care.
Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts?
Concepts.
A fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it. I am the one that saved Obamacare. I will say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it. And all I
Okay,
had to
I'm
do
so
was starve it
confused
to
now.
death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though.
No, kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
Okay, I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to sane wash, but I'm going to try to sum up what just happened there. He has a knee-jerk aversion to it. He doesn't have an alternative. Concepts of a plan is not an alternative. He also wants credit for saving it, which he does is not warranted, but he's still trying to get rid of it, if you've got all that. But even putting aside these Trumpian inconsistencies, what he's saying here is a big deal. I mean, a record 20 million Americans signed up for Affordable Care Act coverage in 2024.
Which I know people who are.
Number. That's a huge number of people. And there have been efforts since it was passed almost 15 years ago to undo it. But there's never been an actual workable alternative plan proposed. Trump himself clearly does not have any actual plan. We know that. And here's the thing. If you take Obamacare away, the Affordable Care Act away, whatever you want to call it, with no grand plan in place, what you are really doing is taking away health care coverage from millions of people. You're taking away coverage from people who have pre-existing conditions. You're taking away coverage from parents who cover their kids who are under the age of 26. You're taking away the ACA's Medicaid expansion, which would mean that more than 3 million adults across 9 states would be at immediate risk of losing health care coverage. So yeah, look, Trump said a lot of things in this very long interview. It's posted. You should all look at it if you want to. There are things in there that are jarring and shocking and often not based in reality, and it can be hard to make sense of it all. I know the instinct can sometimes be to laugh it off or tune it out, but when he says something like that, we really need to listen, because it could impact all of us, everybody sitting at home, very soon. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. This week she was promoted within her caucus to become the third-ranking Democrat in the Senate. She wears many hats, and I want to ask you about many things. Let me just start with Syria.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here. This video from MSNBC, Chilling Trump doubles down on concept of healthcare plan and cabinet nominees in NBC interview. Not that I don't want to hear what is going to be talked about here, what's going to be discussed. I do. I just know that these videos get a little lengthy, so I want to try to look through here and see if I can find another video that I want to preview here. All right. Well, I mean, okay, hold on. There was one that was catching my attention. All right, here. No, wait, not that one.
If a man really hated it.
Glass cleaner. I don't know what that is about. All right, the Bulwark.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. Remember to subscribe to the feed. We appreciate
Drunk
you
at
watching.
10 a.m.
This morning on CNN, Jake Tapper interviewed Oklahoma Senator Republican Markwayne Mullin, and they had quite the intriguing exchange about Pete Hegseth's drinking. Just the lengths that these guys are having to go to kind of humiliate themselves to defend Pete Hegseth continues to astound. And we had.
I do feel like this is semi-relevant to the other video, so I'm gonna listen and watch this.
About just how tough of a spot these Republicans are putting themselves in, having to defend Pete Hegseth now for, I mean, at least another 5 weeks before we even get to the confirmation hearings. But let's take a look.
A number of your fellow Republican senators have publicly
So is this interview from CNN
about Hegseth's reputation for excessive alcohol drinking. Here is what Hegseth said a few days ago on the Megyn Kelly show.
First of all, I've never had a drinking problem. No one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, you should really look at getting help for a drink." Never. I've never sought counseling, never sought help. I respect and appreciate people who do.
Just a few years ago, however, on the Will Cain show, this is how Hegseth described his experience with alcohol after returning from Iraq.
I'd look around at 10 o'clock and be like, what am I going to do today? How would I drink? Some beers. How would I go have lunch and have some beers? How would I meet my 1 or 2 buddies and have some beers? And
okay, this is from August 21st.
Self-medication leads to, I've earned this.
2021.
Tell me I can't.
It seems to be in that Will Cain clip that he's describing having a drinking problem. How do you reconcile that with him now claiming that he's never had an issue with alcohol?
Jake, that wasn't him saying he had an alcohol problem. That was him being honest. Unfortunately, a lot of our combat vets have come back and faced the same thing. That they're sitting there and
They can be
had
the
their
same
identity
thing, though.
in the service. They had a job to do. They were responsible for certain things, and they get out of the service and they're back and they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs. They've had a lot of experiences that the regular population doesn't. They have these memories, these thoughts, these sounds, the smells that are still coming back to them. And they turn to drinking with their buddies. That doesn't mean that they had a drinking problem. That means that every combat veteran has had the same issues. That's why they have VFWs set up.
Not
That's
everyone.
why they have American Legions set up. What he was describing is what most combat veterans have faced. And
most feels like overstretching, but okay.
Describing that as a drinking problem is individuals that doesn't understand combat veterans because they've never been there.
I have done a lot of coverage of veterans and a lot of coverage of combat, and while I have never worn the uniform, I think I do have an understanding of the need of our valiant troops when they come home to self-medicate. What I'm saying is, when you're talking about drinking at 10 in the morning, that's a drinking problem. Now, it doesn't mean that there should be a stigma.
There's a lot of politicians that have a drinking problem, Jake.
Yes, of course. But I guess my question is...
Yeah, and then there's probably a lot of media that has a drinking problem too. And now I don't drink. I haven't tasted alcohol in many years, and never have drank at all in my life, really.
I'm not so sure about that, but
there's a lot of alcohol.
Potato.
In DC on a regular basis, and I wouldn't say that people are alcoholics or
that may come off sounding harsh.
Because of that.
However, I feel like
I don't see it at all.
I feel like we're overgeneralizing here.
I really wish that the media would move on and start focusing on what he can bring to the Secretary as Secretary of Defense.
Okay.
Part of the process is Republican senators.
All right, I'm going to pause right there. So if people are concerned about how professional you're going to be and how serious you're going to be handling a very important job and have admitted to drinking in the past, it is concerning because it says, what if this becomes a problem in the present? What if you are woke up at 2 a.m., have something very important that you need to decide on, but you are completely plastered and drunk and just beyond the ability to be able to make that type of important decision? People have the rights to worry and be concerned and ask questions about this because, of course, if something has shown true in the past, it does not always mean it will show up true in the present. However, it does not sound like these things are being addressed in the current, unfairly, I should say. I feel like I was going off in two different directions there. But basically, I feel as though if this was an actual problem of the past, like years ago, decades ago, I don't even know if this would be a conversation right now. So certainly someone within the inner circle or in the inner workings who knows him or other people who know him professionally clearly have seen something about him that would demonstrate concern about how he would handle that job of importance and make decisions. If we aren't concerned about this as well, then I don't know. Because we really should be considering what this means to the future of the United States of America and honestly of the world too, because decisions that can affect everyone around us, the countries that join us, and people across the world, we should really be considering what does that mean for everyone. A long time ago, what feels like it, which was more like just a month ago, it was the day after the election, and I said, what have we done? Yeah, that was never meant to be as an insult or otherwise. It's more of a, what have we done to divide ourselves? What have we done to disconnect ourselves? What have we done to stop communicating with one another and just completely invest our time into sharing what divides us and what separates us and what lessens us as people? We are all children of the same universe. It doesn't matter what you believe in, your spirituality, your religion, your cultural background, beliefs, the way you were raised, the way you live. My dear friend, we are all connected. And if we keep separating ourselves like this, it is not going to turn out well. So I might share more later as things go forward, but this is kind of like, I guess, episode 2 of sharing my thoughts via video. I hope that this helped bring some insight. Honestly, this last video, oh my gosh, if I can get my words out, video from the Bulwark, drunk at 10 a.m., GOP Senator gives wild Hegseth defense, Tim's take. This is just their opinions and their conversation about it. However, I can say while one seems like, educated on the background and everything, it feels like the other just doesn't know what to say. And a lot of us don't know what to say in certain situations. And that's where pointed fingers come in to play, where, well, no, like you're clearly against me. Well, you're against me. Well, you're just being a snowflake. Well, you're just being a MAGA. It's like, oh my heavens, children, corners. Nope. Corners or hug it out. It doesn't have to be like this, my friends, at all. And we can find ways to bring ourselves connection and to be there for one another. And I really want us to learn and listen to what is important. And what is important to me right now is that you understand that you and your life has value, and that so does your neighbor. So do the people around you. So does the community that is in your life and the community that is not in your life. Everyone and everything matters. If we can find ways to bring ourselves together and connect ourselves, then we can find ways to move forward without continued division. I pray that whoever needs to hear these things today, or whoever feels like they're glad that they tuned in, or, just like randomly went flipping around on the YouTube channels and going like, oh, look, there's a video. Sure, let's see what this crazy person has to say. Not crazy. Don't know why I use those words, but it's just, perhaps it's the perception of crazy whenever it's like we're saying something unbelievable to where it feels like it can't possibly be true. They're clearly out of their mind. Well, I feel like I'm definitely in the right state of mind, because I am trying to follow this nudge that I have been given, and to take the leap, and to just put myself out there, and to try my very best to be there for other people. And the way I feel like being there for other people right now is whenever I am physically able to record my thoughts, share the message, and just put it out there into the universe. I don't know what this is going to bring me, and I definitely am not looking for anything in return, but I am hoping that in some small way I can help make a difference. So I thank you very much for tuning in, and I wish you all the best. I continue to hold on to hope that we're able to find ways to communicate and connect with one another. I hope that you have a peaceful rest of your week, gentle holidays, and a comforting peace of mind. We may not know what the future has in store, but we can look for all the ways that brings us together. Right now, in the present moment. Many things that I wanted to share in that exact same moment of time. And sometimes it is difficult to lay focus on the one thing that I'm trying to say most. However, I hope that my point was, came across pretty well. I'm hoping for as much. Anyway, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening. Bye.